Hi, thanks for spending some time with me today. We're continue to look at some etudes from Charlie Porter's 25 Lyrical Etudes for trumpet. I'm pretty effusive about how much I like these, and I'm trying to show it in the way I'm playing them. So I'll go ahead and play this one for you, but before I do, I want to caution you about something. And many of us, when we're younger, we sometimes make mistakes because we don't look at the key signature before we start playing. We just kind of jump right in. And here the key signature, it's in E flat minor. This is number 8 in E flat minor. This is a little challenging for a lot of people because we don't play in E flat minor all that often. So E flat minor, G flat major are what do they call them, enharmonic. In other words, you have the same key signature for both, but it doesn't stay in the key, and you'll notice that as it goes through. However, I look at it and say, okay, what the heck key am I in? Oh, it says E flat minor, I should try that, and that's what the key signature says. So I just practice the scale. So I'm going to play E flat minor. Now I played it kind of da-da-dee-da-dee-da-dee-dee. So what I try and do is, if I know the scale, which I hope you do, if you don't, go learn your scales. They're all in the Arbin book. You can figure them out. It's just a little practice every day. It will do wonders. If you do know your scales, Rafael Mendez used to say, just practice scales, scales, and more scales, because you can do almost everything you need to do on the trumpet using scales. You just change the dynamics, change the range, change the articulation, change the speed, change the agility, etc., etc. So don't think that scales are boring. They're not, especially if you're feeling it in a time. So I'm going to feel that, I don't know, I'm just making this up. So the rhythm is a big part of it. Now first get the scale. If it's in your fingers, if it's in your ear, great. I played pure minor, but there are other forms of minor. In my 36 years at Boston Conservatory, we have required for some of those years that people play scales. And so they're playing maybe 6 major scales and 4 minor scales in various forms at each one of their playing exams, their juries at the end of the semester. And a lot of people have trouble with this. So what I'm suggesting is learn it by ear. That way you won't have trouble. You'll be confident. Now, of course, jazz players learn just not major and minor scales. They learn a whole lot of scales. And then there are people that, from other countries that play different kinds of music, and the scales they have are even more extended. Indian music, for example, has a very interesting use of pitch and scale that we're not accustomed to. Okay, enough professorial stuff. I'm going to try and play another form of minor and see if I goof myself up. How about harmonic minor? So that has that little change of intervals at the top of the scale that gives you the impression that it's kind of got an Asian or Middle Eastern kind of flair to it, because it's used a lot in the music of those areas. But melodic minor is also very popular. And that's simply the way I think of it. I guess it's cheating a little bit, but cheating's okay when it works. I think of when I play the scale up, it's just a major scale. It just happens to have a minor third in it, which makes it sound minor. But on the way down, it's natural or pure minor, which is the first scale I played. Okay, that's enough class. Let me go ahead and play this for you. Oh, first I'm going to check the tempo. And again, this is in 3, so I'm trying to feel that in the big beat. mistake. I continued at the same tempo, but there's a tempo change. So I was in 128, and now it says 144. Wow, that's really different. So when you're practicing initially, you're learning the notes, you're learning the interval relationships, you're learning the finger patterns, you're learning the basic stuff that allows you to get close. But I'm going to suggest that you move very quickly to things such as dynamics and the tempos. Play with them so that you can get more comfortable. Keep pushing yourself in this way. Let's see if I can play this at that marked tempo. Okay. This is the Allegro. It says 144. Very nice. Now you hear all the modulation going on? It really helps. Take your time. Again, taste it with your ears. Most of us like to eat good food, and that's, to me, this is very similar. It's like there's a certain sensual satisfaction in tasting what's happening with the harmonic progression. And when you can do that, it makes it so much more interesting and engaging. I mean, think of what it would be like to eat food and not be able to taste it. Many of us have experienced that. If we get a really bad cold and we lose our sense of smell, we can't taste anything. You eat because you're hungry, but there's not that enjoyment that you can get when you have your sense of smell working. So see if you can have that sensual kind of experience with this music. I strongly recommend it. Now, when we're changing tempos, you still want to maintain a feeling of swing. And there are a lot of things that happen in this piece that happen in many of Charlie's compositions where you're doing stuff with the dynamics. So let's talk about the little section that says poco più mosso. I think it's the 5th line down. This is page 10 in the book. And it says poco più mosso, and then it says forte come una campana. So una campana, what does that mean? So again, if you're not sure what it means, look it up in your Italian dictionary or in your music terms dictionary, and you may find it. My mom always used to say, see, I grew up in a family where this was important. She'd say, if you don't know what it means, look it up in the dictionary. You'll remember it better that way. So I guess I'm telling you the same thing. But I'll go ahead and tell you what it means, because if you're not sure, you want to know, and here it is. It's like the tone of a bell. So you're imitating, we would call it bell tones, but come una campana sounds better than bell tones. At least it sounds better to me. So it says forte. So that's a nice, strong, affirmative bell. The last one says double forte. And guess what? I ended up trying too hard. So a double forte, no, I want that same effect, only with a little bit stronger bell. So I'm going to give you something to practice here. We don't play bell tones very often, but it's a really, really good exercise. You can actually include this kind of thing in your regular practice. It's very simple. You're trying to go from forte or double forte, let's say, to piano or pianissimo, maybe, but maintain the same quality of sound. So this is a technical exercise with a musical goal. And that's what I try and make all the exercises I work on. Technical exercises, but they have a musical goal. So that's a really kind of aggressive bell strike. Now I'm going to give it a little shape. So there's a gesture. That's a word that I use a lot. There's a sense of movement from the sound. The sound gives you an impression of movement. Let's try that, the double forte one. So I'm a little foggy on the soft. And I also encourage you, especially you more advanced players, practice this with the tongue and without the tongue. And experiment with the front of the note, how percussive is it? You might think of how hard a hammer are you using on the bell. Are you using a soft mallet or are you using a brass mallet? You know, and we need to be able to do the whole range. This is the fun of articulation, is getting these things to come in. Okay, playing into the upper register. Oof. So something I often do, I'm going to play that passage from the Allegro and play up to the C again. And hopefully I'll do a better job this time. And I'm going to sustain it. I often sustain going into the upper register. The reason is very simple. I want to make sure that my voice maintains its quality. If my voice maintains its quality, then people aren't going to notice that there's anything unusual going on. You shouldn't be squeezing or pushing or yelling. And it's very easy to do. It's very difficult to avoid to do in the upper register on the trumpet. So let's see if I can do this. Let me get my tempo again. Okay, now I'm going to do something a little unusual. Don't worry, I'll play in a second. I'm going to go down to 1/3 of the tempo. Now that gets me back into the swing again. So instead of thinking da 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 da, 1, 2, 3, Now, for those of you who aren't comfortable in the upper register, be patient. It takes quite a bit of work and dedication for most people to get to the point where they have good control of the dynamics and it's comfortable, it's even enjoyable to sustain in the upper register. It's a worthy goal. Most trumpet players want it. So I don't intend to be showing off on these. I'm just saying that this is what I do and why I do it. To get that sound of sustaining. Now you're building up from the, let's see, you're going from the low B flat at the beginning of the phrase up to the C above the staff. So that's more than 2 octaves of range. As you go through that range, and this is another reason why I like the musical progression here, you have these figures. So I want to be set up so that I'm not, so I'm comfortable playing the upper register, but it's also easy to play the low register. Now this is an obvious goal, but most people don't really work on it. So you notice you might set up to play the low register at the beginning, and then you make an adjustment somewhere in between, maybe change your embouchure a little bit so that it's more comfortable to play the upper register. So one of the main things in your practice every day is as you play through your entire pitch and dynamic range, as Joe Alessi recommends to his students every day, then you're tasting the skill that's required in order to maintain the quality of the sound in all the registers at all dynamic levels. And it doesn't have to be a boring thing. It can be something beautiful like this, which has a worthy goal. Now, I'm still not satisfied with the result that I'm getting. So in my own practice, I'd be working on this until I had a greater degree of freedom in the sound. It's not quite there yet. It's okay, I've got the note, I've got control, but it doesn't feel completely open yet. And so there's a lot of work to be done, and I'm actually itching to practice, and I have a student coming shortly, so I'm going to cut this off at this point and let you go practice. But keep in mind, See, I've already started to play faster. Keep in mind the swing, right? Stay in the swing all the time. Listen to the quality of the sound. You really can't go wrong. Okay, time to go practice. I'll see you later on. Have a great day. Bye-bye.